Thank you, Senator Ludlam. Senator Manigan.
Thank you, Madam Acting Deputy President. 13 years ago, this parliament recognised the need for a completely fresh approach to family separation. It recommended a new non-adversarial system to protect hundreds of thousands of Australian kids and their families from the harm caused by our family courts and adversarial legal system. 3 months ago, the Senate passed a motion calling upon the government to recognise that thousands of our children continue to be harmed by the slow, unaffordable and adversarial system that remains in place to this day. What has the government done in those 3 months while thousands of more children have suffered? Nothing. From the Attorney-General, silence. No response to the Senate, no response to my letters, and most importantly, no answer for the children and families who continue to suffer from a system that's not fit for purpose. And what has the opposition done? Nothing. In fact, their stated policy remains that our family law system generally operates effectively. Millions of Australians will soon be at the ballot box to vote on whether they agree with that extraordinary statement. And the Greens, well, they're quite vocal enough when they want to be. But when it comes to the lifelong harm caused to thousands of Aussie kids, they're silent too. Perhaps it's too much to expect of the major parties, stacked as they are with former lawyers. After all, one shouldn't be asking a fox to redesign the henhouse. But Australia deserves better, our children deserve better. Let's for once put aside the politics of this place. Please go back to your electorates, every one of you, and listen as I and my fellow independents have done to the voices of the people. Not to angry men or bitter women or any of the usual clichés that have allowed people in this place to ignore this issue for 13 years and more, but to ordinary Australian mothers and fathers, grandparents, children, aunts and uncles. Men, women and children who suffer daily because this place doesn't care enough to do something to help them and their kids, the families, the adults of our future. I've just spent the last 3 hours going through the budget and looking for the government's investment in the family court. The family court where the future of vulnerable children is decided. Madam Acting Deputy President, I could find nothing. I could find nothing in the budget. I could find no mention of the family court in the post-budget press release. What I did see was an allocation of $160 million for the plebiscite on same-sex marriage. And whilst I welcome a plebiscite, I'm appalled and saddened at the deep harm being done to Australian heterosexual families because the family court receives no attention whatsoever. I'm appalled and saddened that the deep harm being done by the family court to Australian children receives no attention whatsoever. I'm appalled and saddened by the government's abandonment of this issue and these people. And I'm appalled and saddened at the waste the family court continues to perpetrate on this country, the heartache and financial ruin it perpetrates on Australian families, the costs to our services if only the government was brave enough and visionary enough to tackle this problem. Thank you, Madam Acting Deputy President.
Thank you, Senator Manigan. The Senate stands adjourned and